Hello again, everybody. So I am back for another installment of meditation here. So just a reminder, if you haven't seen the previous videos, in the first week that we sent out, I went over the basics of meditation pretty in depth in some of the basics, so I will not be reviewing those things again for the most part, although there's always kind of this return to the basics, but yeah, I'm not going to go more in depth with them. And then, last week I did a little bit more movement, and then the grounding meditation, and more general concentration and mindfulness stuff. And today I've been feeling into what I want to talk about here, and what I want to, the sort of meditation I want to guide us in. So I'm thinking that I'm going to do, always I kind of start with some concentration and mindfulness stuff, and that's always going to be inserted in, to a certain degree. But today I also want to touch on a more Zen meditation called zazen, also known as no mind meditation. So we're going to do that a little bit, and then another meditation that's a little bit similar to that, but maybe a little different too. And there might be a little body scan in there as well. So just kind of going to go with the flow. So go ahead and get comfortable, and whether you're seated on a meditation cushion or in a chair, I do suggest being seated upright as much as possible. And why don't you do that with me? Taking a few deeper, slower breaths and sighing them out. I really want you to do that with me. I frequently say it, and people are reluctant to do it, to make noise. It's kind of this interesting thing, especially in a group, I guess. But it's an interesting thing that we, it could be different for everybody, but it's like we feel this discomfort about making noise and drawing attention to ourselves. But assuming right now that you are in a room by yourself, it's easier to do that. So just letting yourself slow down and taking a few deep breaths in and then sighing them out loudly. A deep breath in and sighing it out. Remembering to take belly breaths, which I went over in the first video. Deep breath in, into the belly, and then filling up the chest. Even feeling your sides and back expand as you breathe in. And releasing out. Every time you breathe like that, really getting a sense of like feeling the weight of your body, feeling a connection to the earth, as if you're just releasing all of this energy down out your root into the earth. You're releasing any stress or tension that you have built up in your system. And deep breath in again, into the belly. into the chest, the sides and back. And release. At the beginning here, I always like to incorporate some movement for myself. Sometimes I do it throughout meditation too, although in traditional meditation, you're encouraged to stay still and pay attention to the urge to move. But I still like, especially at the beginning, I like to stretch. I like to stretch, I like to sigh loudly, I like to really, move my joints and notice where there's tension in my body and try and open myself up. There's actually a lot of teaching in meditation about your posture, the importance of posture, which I did go over before. But there really is something to it as far as if your shoulders are forward, your chest is collapsed in, if your spine, like your lower, if that's happening, then it's putting extra pressure on your lower back, which is kind of cutting off your connection to your pelvis in a way and to your legs. So it all is completely interconnected. But you really can feel just the simple difference, and I invite you to do this right now, of having your shoulders hunched forward, maybe even curving your spine a little, feeling your chest caving in, and just breathing, noticing how it kind of constricts the breath. I'm exaggerating it, obviously, but even just doing it a little bit kind of constricts the breath. And actually, there's a sense of your heart being closed off. And now, for contrast, letting your shoulders relax, your shoulder blades relax, opening up your chest. You're actually, as if there's like this invisible string that is lifting the center of your chest just slightly upward. You're not doing it to a weird extent. It might feel uncomfortable if you're used to being caved in, but just really opening up your chest and breathing. I don't know about you, but for me, there's a sense of ease in the breath. I can take deeper breath. And I actually feel a sensation around the center of my chest. It's like, it just feels like my heart is open, like my emotions are flowing openly, my love and compassion are more available. And the more you meditate, the more you may notice such things. But it really does make a difference. And so every so often throughout this meditation, I encourage you to please bring your awareness to your body. Notice, the position of your hips. There's the great thing about meditation cushions is that they're very supportive of the body. I mean, I know for a lot of people it's hard. Here, I'll just do this. I know for a lot of people it's hard to sit in meditation posture. I'm in half lotus right now, which is where you put your one leg in like this, and then the other leg kind of on top here. And I know this can be hard on some people's hips, or maybe your knees. And so you certainly, like I always say, do what works for you. You don't want to be in pain. However, I will say that the more you do sit in positions like this, the easier it will get over time, especially if you do some stretching before and after, or if you do something like yoga. That can really help. So please do bring your attention back to your body over and over again. Just notice these little like micro adjustments, you know. I talk about it in one of the other videos too, and probably will a lot, that we do these unconscious movements or positioning or clenching of muscles, and it really just happens automatically, and we're not aware of it. So meditation is a great opportunity and practice for bringing awareness to that, and just noticing throughout the meditation. You know, you can do it right now too. Noticing if your jaw is clenched, you know, if there's any tension here, if there's any tension behind your eyes, if you're holding your neck or your head kind of forward, which we do a lot when we're like looking at our phones or on the computer or whatever. You know, there's a lot of neck and upper back stuff, misalignment. So just noticing that, and always trying to return or discover, really. It is a discovery of what is the optimal posture for you, and is there an optimal one? You know, it might change. Maybe there's more of like a fluid posture that's better for us. So just being kind of actively engaged in that discovery, but always bringing your awareness back to your body, noticing where there's tension, noticing where you close down or clench, and then just inviting yourself to open up. It's not so much a rigid, forceful process of, you know, I'm supposed to be in this position and I will remain in this position. It doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be like that. Just an invitation, an awareness of what's happening, and then an invitation to open up, to realign. Yeah. So, once again, now that I've gotten that spiel out of the way, bringing your attention to your breath. I kind of imagine there's these different like strands of energy or attention that we connect to all sorts of things, you know, to the news, to this or that social media post, to this or that conversation, to what I have to do later, to the notes that are backed up that I have to write, to the assessments I have to do, to you know, whatever, just so many threads. And so I kind of imagine at the beginning of a meditation pulling all those strands of energy back in, or cutting them, whatever you like to do, pulling it all back in so that all of my energy and attention, as much as possible, is centered in this present moment. Not focused on the possible futures, not focused on a past that's happened and my interpretation of the past, not focused on imagination. Bringing all of that energy in and just bringing it into this moment, into your body, your breath, and the room that you're sitting in. So I invite you to bring your attention to the sensation of your breath. And really doing whatever style of concentration meditation works for you. As I've said before, you can focus on one point of the breath, like the rim of your nostrils and the air moving in and out there. Or you can focus on the whole movement of the breath, which is what I like to do, noticing the air coming into my nostrils, moving down my throat, filling up my lower lungs so my belly expands, my upper lungs so my sides, back, and chest expand. And then feeling all of my torso deflate, my lungs deflate, the air come back up my throat and exit out of my nose or mouth. I'm going to do something else that I didn't expect, because it's a really useful technique. It's a specific concentration meditation technique, which I believe is called, let's see, it's like the 7-point meditation technique or something like that. It doesn't really matter what it's called, but it helps develop concentration. A lot of people struggle with this part of meditation, of bringing the attention to the breath and just focusing just on the breath, not getting distracted by thoughts. So if you want to do this with me, please do. So the way this works is you're breaking down the breath into a bunch of different parts, and as you go through the breath, the experience of the breath, you're keeping a checklist of each part. So the first one being noticing the exact moment the in-breath begins. The second one is following the in-breath all the way in. The third one is noticing exactly the exact moment you reach the peak of the in-breath. Fourth one, there's a little pause. Fifth one, notice the exact moment the out-breath begins. Sixth one, following the out-breath all the way out. The seventh one, noticing the exact moment the out-breath ends. And then the eighth one is shooting your attention quickly through your body from head to toe. Just a really quick body scan, and then it starts over. So maybe it's the 8-point meditation technique. But essentially there's 3 parts to each breath, 3 parts to the inhale, the beginning, middle, end, 3 parts to the exhale, the beginning, middle, end, and then there's this gap or pause in between the in-breath and out-breath, and then there's this gap or pause between the out-breath and the in-breath, in which you do a quick body scan. So as you go through, like really with that hyper-focused attention, really trying to notice the exact moment that the in-breath begins and ends, and the out-breath begins and ends, and then doing the body scan and just that whole process, it keeps your mind so engaged, so focused on keeping that checklist, that there isn't much room to wander off. So, so let's do that for a couple of minutes. might notice the urge of the mind to wander, to just go down this trail of thoughts about something, even about meditation. And that's okay, it's bound to happen. For this particular practice, the orientation or the instruction is to shorten the leash of mindfulness. So I talked about this previously, where you're treating the mind like a wild puppy. And so, just like you would with a puppy, you're going to shorten the leash so that there's not much room to wander off. And what that means in the meditation is that you want to try as best you can to notice the exact moment that a thought starts to form. Like right at the beginning of the thought, before you even finish a sentence in your mind or constructing an image or whatever. And then cut it off. Like tug that leash of mindfulness. Not with cruelty, but just with a firm compassion, and bring your attention back to that cycle of counting the different parts of the breath. So just keep trying that. So just noticing where you're at right now. I'm going to close my window because my neighbors are making some noise. So just making a mental note of how easy or challenging that was for you. I know a particular meditation teacher that uses that instruction. His name's Daniel P. Brown. And what I've heard is that if you engage with that instruction for even a few days, like if you were doing a full retreat and just meditating all day, and if you do that instruction of counting each part of the breath for even just a few days, that you can notice actually large improvements in your ability to keep your concentration focused on the dot, just on the present moment, without any distraction. And the more that you do concentration meditation, the more you can develop that ability. And actually what they find in research is that once you develop this ability, it doesn't go away, which is really interesting. There are permanent changes in the brain. So, yeah, concentration meditation, it's very undervalued. It's not promoted enough. And really, it's in some ways a foundational element to other meditations. So, extremely useful, extremely helpful. There's also less rigid practices where you can just, notice the beginning of the in-breath as you breathe in. Notice the beginning of the out-breath as you breathe out. And then do a quick body scan between the out-breath and the in-breath, so you can kind of have less things to count. It just depends what works for you. Another really common one is counting to 10. So 1 on the in-breath, 2 on the out-breath, 3 on the in-breath, 4 on the out-breath, 5 on the in-breath, 6 on the out-breath, 7 on the in-breath, 8 on the out-breath, 9 on the in-breath, 10 on the out-breath. And then if you get distracted throughout that process, you start over at 1. Or there's also very similar is 1 on the in-breath and the out-breath, 2 on the in-breath and the out-breath, and all the way to 10. So there's a lot of different ways to develop concentration. And like I said, it's just extremely useful, very beneficial in a lot of different ways. So now bringing your attention back to your breath, your body, the present moment. Instead of having this narrow focus of the attention, see what it's like to open up your attention really opening it up so you're becoming aware of, again, your breath, your body, any sensations you're experiencing, the room that you're in. Noticing your senses. And this is mindfulness. as if you are this open field of awareness, and everything that happens within this field, internally and externally, is present. You're aware of it. Not necessarily focusing in on it, not telling stories about it. Just aware. Just observing. Witnessing this unfolding moment without judgment. And as much as possible without thought. Or I should say, without focusing so much on thought. A lot of meditations encourage no thought, cutting off the stream of mental activity. And there's very good reason for that. But I also really want to highlight that even more important than that is developing a non-judgmental relationship to your experience, and even developing compassion for whatever you experience. And that, in my view, that is actually more important. So the thought can be there, the thoughts, they can just be doing their chattery thing, but within this open field of awareness, they're just one small occurrence. So really opening up your attention to be aware of everything that's arising in this moment. So we're going to shift gears again. I'm actually not going to do one of the meditations that I mentioned earlier because I'm running out of time. But I will do the other one, and maybe next week I'll bring in the first one I was talking about. So in some ways, zazen, or no mind meditation, is similar to concentration meditation. In some ways it's similar to mindfulness meditation, but it's actually distinct. And I've never really taught it before, so we'll see how it goes. The thing about Zen is the instructions aren't very good. They're often paradoxical and vague. And the reason for that is because it's a non-dogmatic approach. It's very much about your own direct experience of meditation. So I'll do my best to provide pointers here. Just continuing to always use your breath as the anchor for your attention. In whatever meditation we're doing, the breath is always the anchor to the present moment. So I'm going to try something. As you breathe in, think to yourself, breathing in, I know I am breathing in. And as you breathe out, breathing out, I know I am breathing out. Breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. And just notice the quality of that experience, of reciting that as you breathe. That's an instruction that I've taken from Thich Nhat Hanh, who's a famous mindfulness master. And that's mindfulness. Breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. And now I want you to change it up a little bit. And as you breathe in, just say, breathing in. And as you breathe out in your mind, say, breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. And now, when you breathe in, just say, breathing. And when you breathe out, breathing. And just noticing the quality of the experience, if it's different than saying those other things that we were saying. Breathing, breathing. And now, take away that word. Your body automatically breathes without effort. So letting go of effort. Letting go of labeling. Letting go of all thought. In this meditation, instead of narrowing the focus of your attention onto one particular thing, or opening up the scope of your attention to notice all of manifestation, all of what's arising in this moment, we're doing something else that's like focusing on nothing, on no thing. Letting your body take care of itself with the breathing. It's almost like mindfulness, this open, spacious awareness, but it's empty. We're actually emptying it out of content rather than bringing attention to the content. So it is this open, spacious sky, but with no clouds in it. If clouds arise, see if you can simply dissolve them. And if you can't, that's okay. The other instruction would be to release attachment to them. In other words, bring your attention back to nothing, back to empty, open spaciousness, back to pure awareness. It's actually an incredible relief to contact this part of ourselves, or this level of awareness. It's just empty, but full at the same time. It's like full of emptiness. It's quiet and still. It creates no separation. No separation between subject and object. Between you and the contents of your awareness. Just bringing your attention now back to your breath and body, back to the contents of your awareness, the room that you're in, your sensations. Taking a few deep breaths, feeling your energy get grounded. I don't know how that singing bowl sounds through the phone. So we got a little taste of a bunch of different meditations here. A little taste of zazen. I think I'll go more in depth last time. I just spent more time on concentration in the beginning than I expected. So yeah, thanks for watching. As always, if you have any questions, please shoot me an email. It'll be included in the newsletter. And yeah, I love this stuff, so I'm always available for picking my brain or just asking questions about it, or if you need any resources. I think I will be including some resources with this video attached. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.